All right, there we go. There we go. Okay. Good evening. Happy Tuesday. All the wonderful, lovely things that one should say at the start of a live broadcast. Oh, yep, and I hear an echo. Let's mute that. I'm so sorry if you guys saw an echo there. My apologies. I did not want that to happen. Didn't mute one thing before I got started. But yeah, happy Tuesday. You guys can see the you guys can see the topic here. So I'm gonna get into it here in a moment. Sorry, I just need to lives are very, very interesting to me. There's always so many lovely things going on the screen. So okay, there we go. But yeah, I hope you guys are having a good Tuesday. I wanted to talk through the 5 patterns that I see in nearly every complex case. And we like to talk about patterns, especially in Eastern medicine, because we can go from trying to do like the symptom management. If I look at a pattern of behavior or a pattern that is showing up, opposed to just simply trying to manage manage like the symptom. Okay. 5 things I want you to consider, things that we all need to consider, because I feel like, and for those who've watched my channel before, you all know I integrate my mom into most of the conversations that I have on here because a lot of times, thank you so much for the sound check. A lot of times, she didn't have an advocate. And so for me, it's like, well, what did we miss as a family? Possibly what did her doctors miss at the onset of her case? Maybe it would have helped her be with us longer. Maybe it wouldn't have. I think it's worth at least at minimum having the conversation. I think early pattern recognition has to be a part of our clinical lens for those of us who are in treatment rooms with patients. As patients, you need to be thinking about the lead up. That's why things like journaling become really beneficial, because then you're starting to see, like, oh, I end up at the doctor, I end up in the ER, I end up at the hospital every time this thing is happening or that thing is happening, or I've done this activity or I've eaten this food, right? You can actually begin to track what's going on with you and what's happening, opposed to just allowing things to just happen to you and toward you. Okay. But here go my 5. Energy dysregulation, number 1. And I'm taking a pause here. You guys know I tend to go live here on YouTube in the evenings because those at the end of my day and I've done all the other things. So I'm also tired, right? But you need to check your energy. Being tired at night is okay. You know, you've been doing the things, working, spousing, parenting, right? Driving. You've been doing all the things. And so being tired at night is normal. No one's going to look at you because you're ready to like plop onto your bed. We're talking about energy dysregulation where you're having like every morning I wake up after I've slept all night and I am just tired. I am just fatigued. I do not have the energy to start my day after rest. The afternoon slumps every day at this time. I'm feeling tired. I need to just like crash. Or, and I don't have coffee, but I was drinking something hot a little while ago. Or I need, the caffeine. These are patterns of energy dysregulation that we need to watch. I see the comment here. Thank you for this conversation. This transparency surrounding patterns that lead to illness will change someone's life. That's my hope. My hope is that I say a thing. Everyone may not come to see me at my practice, and that's fine. I don't get on here because I want everyone who watches my YouTube to to come see me, although you are free to go to my website, which should be in my bio. But if you want it, you can just put a comment on this video. Watch the energy dysregulation. Don't normalize the I'm just so tired every morning. Oh, I have the afternoon slump. these could be signs towards something bigger. Gut immune interactions. Weakened immune systems can be as a result of what's going on in the gut. I'm not saying anything is foolproof. I'm not saying that everything is one to one. Of course, when we're talking about patterns, these are things to look at. So I always get sick, and then it's like, oh, here, drink this cough medicine, or take this specific syrup, or take this emergent H. I'll just say a different letter so I don't talk about a brand, opposed to could something be going on in your gut? If no one's ever told you that possibly your gut health could be impacting a weakened immune system, let me be the first to tell you. Okay. And um, really because when you think about the organs that play a part in like digestion, I don't think a lot of times that people take into consideration the spleen and its role in both digestive health, its role in immune health, and then from an Eastern medicine perspective, it has a huge, huge role. So again, things to keep in mind. What's going on in your gut can strengthen or weaken your immune system. And so if you are constantly susceptible to illness. Again, does that mean that we'll never get sick? Anyone who's telling you like, oh, I'll never get sick, I don't, because I chew on tree bark or whatever people are out here doing. Don't let them fool you. That's not real. That's not true. Um, we talked about energy dysregulation. We talked about gut immune interaction. Next one is trauma and how that impacts our physiology. Everyone has those hills that they're willing to die on. This is one of mine. So if you watch one of my videos, if you come talk to me at the practice, more than likely you're going to hear me talking about trauma, your emotional health, and how that is impacting your physiology, aka your physical health. Um, don't negate what you've been through or what you're going through, right? Because we're always like, oh, when I was a child, and like really what I went through 5 minutes ago could also be detrimental to what's going on with my physical health. So don't negate that. And so when we're talking about managing our health and managing what's going on with us, we have to consider what is also happening with our emotions and with the trauma. And so as we are healing emotionally, you will see some changes happen and correct physically. Okay. Because there is a direct connection um, in most walks of medicine. But I'll tell you from Eastern medicine, we definitely are looking at how trauma is impacting physiology. Again, the 5 things that we see. Next one is the environmental load. Your environment is a lot of different things. So I'm going to say some things that you can consider for environment, but it may not be the totality of what one needs to consider. But emotional load can be what's going on in your home. It could be the cleanliness of your home. It could be the chaos in your home. It could be the relationships with the people that are in your home. Environment can be the air that we're breathing. Environment can be clutter. Environment can be the plugins. Environment can be not spending enough time outside in nature. I mean, literally the environment, like the environmental load, all of these things need to come into play because a lot of times when we're talking about health, again, we're talking about the things that are marketable. It's hard to market a walk in nature. So you don't hear nobody talking about it, right? But you'll hear somebody marketing to you like, oh, you should be taking and like insert product X here. The reason for that is that it can be marketed, where I'm going to tell you to consider your entire environment because these things are patterns that can be adjusted and corrected in order to improve your health. Wow, I never looked at those observations as a pattern. Yeah, these are things for your consideration. None of these are meant to be taken as like complete medical advice. These are for your consideration. Last thing is why patterns matter. Why patterns matter more than protocols. I wanted to end with this as my 5th one to share with you all tonight because it's always like, oh, okay, great. Here's a treatment plan. Here's a protocol we're going to follow. I got a plan. And I'm like, I want to look at the pattern because what happens with the protocol is that your body feels good. Like, okay, we did this thing. I feel great. How long is that going to last if you don't look at the patterns that got you to where you are? If you do not correct the patterns that got you to the place where you're at, you're going to end up right back and we're going to end up having to repeat the same protocol. So for me, those two have to run concurrent where I have to look at the pattern where I have to change some things while we're going to concurrently do the protocol so we can improve what has currently come to be as a result of the decisions, the foods, the lack of sleep, the genetics, the DNA, like all the things, right? The energy dysregulation, having gut issues, having a weakened immune system. We've all dealt with trauma. The environmental load is too heavy for my system to bear. I'm looking at all of those patterns as a practitioner, and I'm going to give you a protocol that's going to help you to feel better. But we have to consider both. So again, when you're thinking about the patterns that, led you to where you are, these are the things that are at the basis of all the complex cases. What happens is that the body has worked so hard and it has done so much that now it's kind of at that spent place and that spent point. And now it's become this real complex thing that we don't know how to unentangle ourselves from. But if we took an opportunity to just address some of these smaller issues a little earlier on, and earlier on is before we're gone. So earlier on is not just, you know, oh, I don't have anything going on. I'm just in my preventative health. You might have a health condition happening. I'm still going to say for your consideration, consider your energy dysregulation. Let's see what's going on with your gut and immune interaction. Let's address the impact of trauma on your physiology. Let us consider the environmental load as part of the conversation. And lastly, I want to look at the patterns even more than I want to give you my protocol. Again, this is Princess Akima. Thank you guys for catching this. If I didn't say this at the beginning, so I'm going to say this now. And if you watch this not during the live, please click the bell on here so that when I do go live, if you want that real, like in person, like, of course, it's not in person, but if you want that real time interaction, I'm going to encourage you to subscribe to the channel as well as click the bell so you get notified. I do try to go live 1 to 2 times a week on this channel. And that's just going to be really when I have like a moment and I want to talk with you. So click the bell and I hope to catch you the next time I'm on here. Peace and blessings, you all.